Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Steelers add Super Bowl winning WR with Arthur Smith ties, report. The Pittsburgh Steelers added another wide receiver on May 8. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported on X, formerly Twitter, that the Steelers signed veteran Scotty Miller to a one-year contract. Miller previously played in Arthur Smith's offense with the Atlanta Falcons. Former Falcons free agent wide receiver Scotty Miller is reuniting with Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, wrote Schefter. Signing Miller is not the blockbuster wide receiver acquisition Steelers fans have been waiting for since the draft. But Miller's experience in Smith's offense could be key for Pittsburgh's young receiving core. Miller began his career as an undrafted free agent with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2019. He posted 33 receptions, 501 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns with the Buccaneers in 2020, helping the team win the Super Bowl. During the 2020-21 postseason run, Miller had 4 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown in the NFC Championship game. Over 4 seasons in Tampa Bay, Miller posted 74 receptions, 924 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns. Last season with the Falcons, Miller caught 11 passes for 161 yards. He also had 2 touchdowns. Miller is the third veteran receiver the Steelers have added on a one-year contract this offseason. Pittsburgh also drafted Michigan's Roman Wilson during the 3rd round of the 2024 NFL Draft. Miller will likely compete for a depth receiver role with the Steelers. The 26-year-old also has a little experience returning kickoffs and punts. Miller is not only the third veteran receiver the Steelers have signed to a one-year deal, but Miller is the second of those 3 wideouts with previous experience playing for Smith. This offseason, the Steelers also signed receiver Van Jefferson. He had 12 catches for 101 yards in 12 games for the Falcons last year. The other veteran wideout the Steelers signed this spring was Quez Watkins. Pittsburgh has made these additions at receiver in an attempt to replace Deontay Johnson, who the team traded to the Carolina Panthers on March 12. But, Miller is cut from a similar cloth as Jefferson and Watkins in that his best season was a few years ago. Like Jefferson and Watkins, Miller has recorded one 500-yard season in his career. But Miller doesn't have 500 yards in the last 3 years combined. Last season, he was under 210 receiving yards, which was true for all Steelers wideouts not named George Pickens. Adding a receiver with little 2023 production is going to irk a lot of Steelers fans. First call, what it may have cost the Steelers to land Brandon Ayuk, Martavis Bryant released again. Thursday's First Call takes a look behind the curtain as to what it may have cost the Pittsburgh Steelers to land Brandon Ayuk in a trade with San Francisco. A former Steelers pass catcher is back on the open market. A second former Steelers front office alum is in the hunt for a job with the Patriots. And TJ McConnell got it done in the NBA playoffs again Wednesday night. But his team did not. What would it have cost the Steelers to trade for San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk? Well, think about the A.J. Brown trade to Philadelphia. According to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN.com, multiple teams admitted to him that they had interest in Ayuk. But apparently, the asking price was a first-round pick for him, with one club comparing the situation to what Tennessee got from the Eagles for Brown in advance of the 2022 season. That deal yielded the 18th pick in the draft for Tennessee, as well as a third-round pick at number 101 from Philly. Also incumbent on that swap was a new contract for Brown. The Eagles then signed Brown to a 4-year, $100 million deal. So, presumably, the Steelers, or any other club, would have inked Ayuk to an extension beyond, or instead of, his 5th-year option of $14.1 million. Before the Steelers' rumors heated up, there had been a rumor that Jacksonville was willing to trade San Francisco the number 17 pick and receiver Zay Jones for Ayuk. Honestly, if a 4-year deal had come along with the trade, I would have been okay with that move for the Steelers and worried about drafting a tackle in the first round next year. Especially now, knowing how barren they might be at wide receiver. Meanwhile, Fowler also added, the 49ers did discuss Deeboo Samuel with teams on day 2 of the draft, but a source said definitively 2 hours before the second round that San Francisco isn't moving him. A familiar name at wide receiver has been turned loose into free agency. It's ex-Steeler Martavis Bryant. After signing with the Dallas Cowboys practice squad last season, Bryant didn't make the active roster. He was kept on a futures contract after the 2023 campaign concluded. Now 32 years old, Bryant last played an NFL game in 2018 for the, then, Oakland Raiders. Bryant was a 2014 fourth-round pick by the Steelers and caught 8 touchdowns in 10 games as a rookie. He has been suspended 3 times because of substance abuse violations. Since he was kicked out of the league, Bryant has been all over the map. He was in the Canadian Football League with the Toronto Argonauts and Edmonton Elks. He played this spring with the Vegas Vipers of the XFL. The Massachusetts Pirates of the Indoor Football League gave him a shot in 2021. He even played with the FCF Beasts of the Fan-Controlled Football League. I know the Steelers are desperate at receiver, but they wouldn't be so desperate as to sign Bryant, would they? Can you imagine a wide receiver room with Bryant and George Pickens in it at the same time? That may be enough to drive Russell Wilson back to minor league baseball and make Justin Fields truly consider those kick return duties as a full-time job. Pittsburgh Steelers trade proposal lands elite $71.5 million playmaker with 38 TDs. The Pittsburgh Steelers have made overhauling the offense and adding playmakers a top priority this offseason. Whether by a complete quarterback room makeover by signing Russell Wilson and trading for Justin Fields, or selecting 3 offensive linemen to keep their quarterbacks upright in new coordinator Arthur Smith's scheme, it's a new era for the Steelers' offense. However, for as dynamic as George Pickens is at stretching the field, the receiver core could still use an upgrade. Deeboo Samuel has been a subject of consistent trade rumors throughout the offseason and could be an ideal fit for the Steelers. If the Steelers are serious about adding a dynamic presence to the receiving core, there are few more electrifying playmakers available than 49ers star Deeboo Samuel. Bleacher Report's Gary Davenport put together a list of the top receivers the Steelers should target, including Samuel. Since surpassing 1,400 receiving yards in 2021, he hasn't had even 900 receiving yards in a season, Davenport writes for BR. With Christian McCaffrey now in the Bay Area, Samuel's role as a runner has diminished significantly. When Samuel was at his best, he wasn't really a traditional receiver. And while he would improve the Steelers' WR core, the fit in the Steel City would be iffy. There's a legitimate possibility that a trade to the Steelers, where offensive coordinator Arthur Smith could deploy him as a runner, as the 49ers more frequently did prior to McCaffrey's arrival, and as a dynamic deep threat opposite George Pickens, could spark a renaissance for Samuel. Here's the trade that Davenport proposes. San Francisco gets 2025 round 2 pick, 2026 round 4 pick. Pittsburgh gets Samuel, 2025 round 6 pick. Through his first 5 seasons, Samuel has produced 4,122 receiving yards and 19 touchdowns while rushing for 1,007 yards and 19 more scores. Parting ways with a second-round pick could be a difficult pill to swallow for the Steelers, especially if Pittsburgh has any lingering questions about Wilson and/or Fields' future in the Iron City. However, there are few players capable of making Samuel's impact on a game or an offense which could help close the gap on the likes of the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC North. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Deeboo Samuel? Leave your opinion in the comments.